Hey guys, it's Gawain, and today we're going to be covering an operator that actually does have a primary gadget that you can use, Warden. Warden is a 1-speed 3-armor defense operator that specializes in plant denial and fragging. Warden has great guns, great secondary gadgets, but has a very selfish primary gadget. Good Warden players will take a smoke or a flashbang, which usually puts you at a disadvantage, and completely flip that disadvantage onto the attackers. Let's learn how to play him. Warden is equipped with his I Wash Watch, of which he gets 1 on a 20-second resource meter. To activate this ability, Warden takes a look at his Rolex, which activates his Google glasses, and they wash his eyes to clean his eyes of any impurities, allowing him to see again after being flashed and see through smokes. After activating this ability, you will be immune to all flashbangs and have thermal vision so you can see through smokes and sense walls until the gadget either runs out or you deactivate it. There is a curved bar on either side of your screen when your gadget is active, and these indicate the strength of your thermal vision. When moving, the strength of your thermal vision decreases. Whilst sprinting, it decreases by 50% a second, whilst walking it decreases at 40% a second, whilst crouch walking it decreases at 33% a second, and whilst slow walking it decreases by 20% a second. Standing still again will cause the strength to go back to 100% in 1 second. It's worth noting that whilst I call the ability to see through smoke thermal vision, attackers won't actually get highlighted like defenders do when you look through Glaz's scope. I, like most people, tend to use this gadget reactionarily because it can be difficult to preempt a flashbang being thrown at you. The gadget is pretty self-explanatory. If you see a flashbang, yin, candela, or a blitz sprinting at you, activate your gadget so you don't get blinded and fight off that enemy. Similarly, if you see a smoke cloud from a grenade or a capitao, or you see a sens wall, then you should activate your gadget to look through at whoever is trying to make a play and potentially plant. You can try to predict a flashbang if you hear an enemy in a position where they are about to push you by activating your I Wash Watch preemptively and ignoring the flash altogether so you can just swing and kill them. Just know that activating your watch does make a distinctive sound cue, meaning the enemies might know not to throw a flashbang and just go for the kill instead. Warden's gadget is really easy to use. If you get flashed, cleanse your vision. If you're about to get flashed, activate it, and if you see a smoke grenade, activate it then too. Just beware of Glaz players trying to bait you. Warden's primary weapon options are the MPX submachine gun and the M590A1 shotgun. His secondary weapon options are the SMG-12 and the P10C handgun. I personally run the MPX paired with the SMG-12 most of the time. As I'm sure you're all aware, the MPX is the reason Warden mains are Warden mains and why they don't realise he has a gadget in the first place. To them, the 1.5x scope on the MPX is his gadget, and to be honest, I can kind of see why. This thing absolutely fries enemies even with mediocre aim like mine. The gun has a good fire rate, mediocre damage, and low recoil, so you can run whatever attachments you want on it. I personally run the vertical grip paired with the extended barrel. Also, if you're watching in Year 9 Season 1 or onwards, Warden doesn't have a 1.5x scope anymore because that magnification level doesn't exist now, so you can acknowledge that he has a real gadget now. As for the M590A1, it's my favourite shotgun and it's amazing. The Brexit shotgun is a great sight setup tool that packs a big punch close range, definitely worth running if you prefer to play on sight and anchor whilst holding tight angles in close quarters. It's also a great option if you can use the SMG-12 from range, which, let's be real, you can't. Speaking of the SMG-12, it's a great secondary weapon because it's an incredibly fast firing gun with decent damage and a big mag size, the only downside being the recoil. Learning this recoil will probably be the best thing you can do whilst playing Warden because the gun is insane and it allows you to use the shotgun more viably. The P10C is an alright pistol that has a red dot and it's good if you really can't use the SMG-12, but I would advise learning how to use it instead of using the pistol. In terms of secondary gadgets, the American James Bond wannabe gets access to 1 nitro cell, a singular deployable shield, or 3 observation blockers. Warden Warden gets an interesting loadout because he can essentially take a roamer or an anchor build depending on the player or the site. Take the MPX paired with the SMG-12 and a nitro cell for a roamer build, or take the M590A1 paired with the SMG-12 and a deployable shield for an anchor build. The nitro cell is the best option in my opinion though, because it allows you to deny the plant easier, which combos with your primary gadget better. If you see someone running in through smoke, you can blow them up after throwing a C4 to deny the plant. It's also good for generally getting easy kills, as I'm sure you're all aware. The deployable shield allows you to play in spots you wouldn't normally be able to and bunker down more on site. This can also combo well with your gadget because you can see through smokes, through a bulletproof piece of cover to then pop up and shoot whoever is trying to run in and plant. A shield in the right hands can be better than a nitro cell, but a C4 is easier to use for most people. The observation blockers are entirely outclassed by both deployable shield and the nitro cell, but if you do want to use them, make sure to block off sightlines throughout the map that drones pass through commonly to disrupt them and deny intel. For the prep phase, focus on reinforcing the walls other than main breach that most people these days just leave so everyone else can focus on main breach and putting their gadgets down. If you have the shotgun, make rotate holes and the rest of it. If not, just prepare yourself by positioning for where you want to play during the action phase. Warden's main job in the action phase is to contest enemies trying to take map control, which can be best done by roaming or holding a room off-site in a shallow roam. Your loadout will determine where you play, but the gameplay loop remains mostly the same. If an enemy flashes you or uses a smoke grenade, activate your gadget to try and kill the enemy through the cleansed vision. Don't take any gunfights you know you shouldn't or you know you can't win, because you will need to help deny the smoke plant. Rotate back to site when you need to and wait for a sends wall or a smoke grenade to go off before activating your goggles again. If you have a C4 when the enemies run into plant, throw it and blow them up, otherwise just shoot them. Once the plant is denied, you can either go for the final kills or play time, waiting for the enemy to make the mistake of going for a plant again so you can kill them. Warden has two counters, IQ and EMPs. IQ can see your glance smart glasses when they are activated, so she could potentially shoot you through a soft surface if you're not careful. There's nothing you can do to prevent this really. EMPs will disable your goggles and won't allow you to equip them for the duration of the EMP you get hit by. To prevent this, don't stand near the main breach because that's where most EMPs will be targeted. Use your smart glasses reactionarily to cleanse the blindness from a flashbang so you're ready for a gunfight quicker than you would be if you just waited it out. Use the MPX for a laser beam SMG that can melt enemies from all ranges. Use your smart glasses to deny the plant by looking through smoke clouds or sends walls and shooting or blowing up the enemy. Find out which secondary gadget and primary weapon suits you best to make your time playing Warden a lot more easy and a lot more fun. Always remember that you have a gadget that can make you invulnerable to flashbangs and smoke grenades, because attackers really don't expect it even if they know you're Warden. Overall, Warden is a middle-of-the-road operator in terms of difficulty in my opinion. His guns and kit are generally easy to use, but his gadget is incredibly situational, making him difficult to get maximum value out of. Learn when to use his gadget, how to control the SMG-12, which primary weapon and secondary gadget suits you best, and you are sure to become a pretty decent Warden player. Thank you all for watching, I do hope you enjoyed. If you found this guide helpful in any way, shape or form, please do consider subscribing and sharing it with your friends, as it does help grow the channel, which is very much appreciated. As always, all the clips you saw in this video were taken from my Twitch stream, link will be on screen and in the description. Ram is next with the Siege series, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.
Clearing LOS.
Get Wardened on. Get Wardened on.